In today's episode of the Pathfinder Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Josh Kamrath, and he's heading over from the folks over at Bongo. Basically, it helps to equip your customer-facing teams with the right skills when we're talking, sales enablement. So it's your next sales readiness tool. So we want to really figure, what it's all about. It's a video assessment tool that works basically alongside your existing learning platform, and we want to, deep dive into Bongo and also talk a little bit with Josh about growth. So welcome to the show.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. So maybe give people a quick overview. What is Bongo all about in your own words?
So in my own words, we are also an AI-powered video assessment tool that focuses on having learners demonstrate skills or competencies, so whether that's their sales skills or ability to articulate product or overcome objections. A lot of times we'll have organizations give certifications through video validation powered by Bongo. And it's really a place for learners to become more confident and capable articulating their knowledge.
Gotcha. Very good. Now, maybe tell us a bit about sort of the companies. Which types of companies would benefit the most? Is there like a certain size that the team needs to have in order for this to make sense? Certain roles that definitely need to be there in order for the product to make perfect sense. Like maybe tell us a bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, in general, the typical company we work with, the lowest size is somewhere between 25 and 50 employees. Our kind of sweet spot is, I would say, mid-market. So anywhere from 200 to 1,000 employees, but have a number of organizations like ServiceNow or Microsoft that are monster adopters, both adopting the product for internal purposes, so training their own employees, but also for external, where they are both training resellers or admins of their products to basically validate that they're able to articulate how ServiceNow works, for instance. And the thought process is, those administrators of these products, if they can talk about what that product does, they're going to have a better implementation and have higher retention, and kind of all the good SaaS metrics that organizations look at will be improved by validating that those people can talk about the product that they're buying.
Very cool. Now, how do people learn about Bongo? Like, what would be sort of the journey that they go through in order to get started?
So I would say the typical journey is, really ordinarily starts with one of our partners. So we actually have a little bit of a unique business model. It's like the Intel Inside model, I always say, and in that Bongo is typically being white labeled into another product. And then that other product, whether it's a learning management system, content, just a student or learner engagement tool, Bongo's adding value, the video validation components to that product. And a lot of times they're learning through the typical implementation path of our partner. Reading documentation. It's we've tried, especially the last 4 or 5 years, we've put a massive amount of engineering into trying to make the product simple and intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you kind of just go in and click around, and generally you can learn how to use it. But those are the typical paths, I'd say.
Very good. We chatted a little bit prior to the conversation on channel partners. Maybe give us an insight, on how you guys, work with partners. What's their role, and maybe a little bit of, how you think about working with them, like what's important, what are the do's and don'ts of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I would say their role is, it's definitely a symbiotic relationship, right? We both benefit from each other. Bongo benefits significantly by having the ability to sell into their user base and help them differentiate. Almost always these partnerships, partner organizations have hundreds, or in some cases thousands, of customers that are, each have a relationship with that partner that's trusted.
Mm-hmm.
So Bongo is able to leverage that and lean on that and be sold as an additional product of our partners. Then the partners benefiting by not having to spend years of engineering developing the functionality that Bongo has. So it's certainly symbiotic, but just in terms of how like our relationship and how organizations or end users are getting familiar with the product. We benefit a lot actually from talking about use cases and customer journeys of our end customers through our website. And from that, we're able to kind of parlay it into meaningful conversations for net new partnership opportunities, right? So if we're going to try to sign up a new partner, a new distribution channel, they're most interested in retaining in I guess additional monetization of their base, but most importantly, or most interested in having additional differentiation to win net new deals. So when we're able to bring end users that are captured through our bongolearn.com website to those customer or what are ultimately partner relationships, everything's just much smoother, and it's easier for them to justify the engineering resources needed to partner.
And can you tell us a little bit about sort of how such a partnership comes to be, right? Because I mean, maybe what would be sort of an example case, like you guys like contact them, like, because I think we have a lot of listeners who are sort of intrigued by the concept of channel partners, because it's obviously great to sell into organizations, customers. But how does it come to be? Like, what do you guys need to bring to a table for like a good relationship? What does a partner need to look like? How do you actually, start a relationship? Maybe you can give us an insight on that.
Yeah, I would say, it's almost changed too over the evolution of our company or our Bongo's, company life cycle. In the early days, we were, every single conversation, we were outbound, going to conferences, trying to connect with either product managers or partners people. Larger organizations typically have a partners department, but a lot of times it'll start with a product person at the partner organization. But yeah, like I said, in the early days, it was 100% outbound, us reaching out, trying to drum up relationships. More recently, especially in the last year, we now have a large enough user base where, and this is like an amazing thing that's recently happened, and that we have customers that have been using us and switched to a new not yet partner for Bongo, but a new like learning management system, for instance. And those end users will bring into the conversation, hey, like we need to have Bongo functionality as part of our implementation. And that's like the best possible situation for us in that, it's a customer like kind of clamoring at the gates of saying, hey, we need this. So there's already the demand that's proven. And it's a real easy conversation for us to say, okay, well, if that one customer is asking for it, that's replicatable, right? There's going to be lots of customers, both that you already have as well as that you're going to be procuring in the future. So it's a little bit more inbound now, I suppose.
Very cool. Very cool. And like for the early days, maybe we go back there a little bit, like, starting a relationship like that, like what, should marketer bring to the table, right? When they want to establish such a relationship, maybe if you think about the first couple of, partnership deals, doing, like, what do you need to bring to a table, like that you think actually makes you yourself a good channel partner?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I would say it's similar to a traditional sales cycle where the partner, has a problem that they need to solve. It's, the marketer or, Bongo as an organization, it's our responsibility to identify that problem. And, in some cases, Bongo is never going to be able to solve that. But in other cases, we do solve it. And it's, so then positioning Bongo to solve that problem for the partner. So for us in particular, a lot of the time, the problem that our partners are having are, engagements, lack of accountability, difficulty to prove ROI of the learning, right? So their customers are saying, hey, why am I going to drop $100,000 buying a bunch of content if I don't have any evidence to show that my learners actually learn something? Well, Bongo can bridge that gap. So positioning ourselves in that case that to solve that problem, makes it more natural. It allows the partner to be able to connect the dots and ultimately add more value to the mutual end users. And those, I guess that's like the sales cycle, if you will, for landing a new partner.
So you could even see, like, people doing like email outreach for partnerships and just suggesting a partnership, like this kind of model is even. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's generally, what we've done is, some email, to be honest, like LinkedIn's been way bigger, better hit rate
Mhm.
for outbound partners.
Mhm.
Identifying, each organization has a little bit of a different structure in terms of like who's making the decisions, both from a business standpoint, from as well as from a partners or product standpoint. I would say the one other kind of core difficulty compared to a traditional sales cycle is, when you're selling to an end user, you generally know like this persona is the decision maker. With partnerships, it's a lot more murky. Sometimes it's a product guy, sometimes it's it's someone who is just a business or a strategy person. Sometimes it's the CEO, and trying to navigate that is, if there's one hardship of this model, it's trying to navigate who are the personas that we need to be going after.
Got you. And what would you typically see? Is that typically revenue share models? Is that,
Mhm.
any other benefits like access to client bases? Like, what do you feel like is a, common model that you would see in that industry?
Yeah, so Bongo has really two models. One is a rev share, where we're upselling, and basically the partner has 12 million users. They're going to go upsell our product to those users. We might capture 10 or 15%, and then of that user base, and so that would represent a few $1 million, and kind of 2/3 would go to Bongo, 1/3 would go to the end customer. But again, painting the picture of, it's not just about that marginal revenue that the partner should be concerned about. It's about being able to differentiate and win additional new business,
Yeah.
right? So again, what really jumpstarts relationships when we're starting them out is, of course everybody wants a little bit of the pie, but being able to say, hey, we're going to go help you close 5 new deals, where Bongo might, get 70% of the 20% upsell, but the partner is getting 100% of the LMS or, the product that they're selling. And Bongo's, again, helping differentiate. So in turn, helping them win against their competition. That's really where they're most interested in, is helping them, when Bongo can help the partner sell more of their product.
Makes sense. Very cool. Yeah, let's switch gears a little bit and talk a bit more about Bongo itself. Like, super interesting sort of side dissection that we did there. Now, talking about the website of it, bongolearn.com. Everybody who's listening in, feel free to head over and get an insight. Now, we touched on it briefly, but how do you think about the role of the website for the business? Do you see it as next to that channel partnerships that we discussed? Do you see it as a main driver of growth? What's your perspective on it? And maybe also down the line, how do you see that evolving, that role?
Yeah, I would say the primary purpose the website's served us is helping with the validation stage, right? So, of course, we always love when end users come to our site and do a try it for free, or give us their information so we can follow up. But really, we're not as, we're concerned, we have concern on trying to convert those into paid customers, of course.
Mhm.
But really what we're wanting is to develop relationships with those organizations, and then parlay that into a bigger partnership, with whatever products they're using, whether it's an LMS or a content aggregator or authoring tool. They typically are also using additional L&D technology, and having Bongo integrate into that, one, makes their life way easier, but then two, when we're able to bring a customer to a partner relationship, the conversations and the sales cycle for that new partner is greatly accelerated.
Gotcha. Very cool. Nice. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your journey, right?
Okay.
And the company. So, with all the, because you hold of course, a lot of different hats, and have to basically learn on a lot of different fronts. Like, how do you personally, find great quality information for yourself when it comes to growth, right? For example, when you're providing yourself into the channel partnership model, or any other things that you've planned, like, what's your go-to resources, podcast, books, people? Like, where do you find good insight in with all the noise out there?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess so. I guess one other kind of context piece is I actually was the first employee. So I'm the CEO now. Wasn't the founder. It was founded by a tenured professor. And so in the early days, I just would continue learning from my professor, who was the founder. But there became a point where I could only learn so much, and seeking information, on my own. Whether it's, I guess in the early days, it was I just would read as many business books as I could. And I tried to kind of do a grab bag, to be honest, of whether it's like finance or general business or leadership or marketing. A lot of marketing books helped quite a bit, both in just like how does marketing work, but also trying to figure out how to position our products and just different business models of how to grow a company. And more recently, just a lot of articles, right? So like HubSpot has a great, blog. I read SaaStr has so just if you're familiar with that, is also an awesome source of knowledge and just like company building and growth. So another blog, trying to remember the name of it. We have there's a organization, used to be called Revenue Collective. I think they changed their name recently. I'll think of it in a second. But what was that?
I think Pavilion or any in that.
Yep. Yeah, Pavilion. Yep, that's exactly. So they changed their name to Pavilion. So that's another huge resource, both a little bit for myself, but also for some of our more senior employees. We sponsor a membership for Pavilion, and they've really benefited from that. It's just a source of knowledge. I guess then one other organization that I've been a part of is a group called YPO. It's Young Presidents Organization. So there's a number of qualifying criteria, like so many employees, so much revenue. You have to be under 45 to join, and then the CEO or president of an organization. That has been a tremendous source of knowledge for me personally. And one of the reasons I benefit from it so much, or that I really appreciate, is it's never you should do this. It's always, in my experience, this happened. So it's more of a shared experience kind of model. But yeah, those are some of the, I guess, outlets that I've procured some knowledge through.
Very good. So let's wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready for those?
Sure. Yeah.
What is the last book that you read?
I actually reread it's like Purple Cow, I think. Do you know that one? It's a marketing book.
Haven't read it, no.
Yeah, so it's like I think it's called Purple Cow. It's just like how to position things uniquely. But I think that was like the second or third time I've read it over the years.
What's the one single thing that your company's focused on the most at the moment?
Securing new partnerships. So one in particular this quarter is what we're pretty much solely focused on.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, what would be the one single thing that you would sort of want to fix for your role in growth? Like if you got a magic wand, what's the one single thing you would fix?
Oh, if I had a magic wand, I suppose I'd, make the product just a lot more robust. There's a lot of things with the AI functionality that we're wanting to continue to invest in. So making all that happen instantly would be pretty awesome.
And for the very last question, if today would be your very first day, right, working, if you go back to the days when you worked with the professor on Bongo, what's the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
Oh, I would say I'd read a lot of those books sooner. So and kind of seek knowledge faster.
Very good. Just I really appreciate you joining us today for the Pathway Presents podcast. I want to give you the very last word. If people will be forgetting all that we discussed about Bongo, what's the one thing people should remember?
The one single thing would be, that it's extremely important to validate knowledge, not just check the box that it was completed, and doing that through real world exercises. Our philosophy of the best way to achieve that.
Very good, Jeff. Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.